global happenings today. We communicate, we analyze global news. Stay tuned.
Hello beautiful people, welcome back to our channel. Remember some few minutes ago we did mention that nnamdi Kanu has stormed the court. Yes, he did, and he had decided to give it all out. Well, the matter has been adjourned, but not without nnamdi Kanu declaring his stand. I can tell you for free, nnamdi Kanu is definitely ready for this show. But before we go into the newspaper, kindly subscribe to our channel. Let's quickly dive into the details of the drama that ensued in court just this morning. Now, according to what happened, shocking courtroom twist, the IPOB leader, nnamdi Kanu, dropped Bombshell, refuses to defend himself in an explosive trial, a terrorism trial, declaring charges as baseless. Now, in a jaw-dropping turn of event, nnamdi Kanu, the very leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, shunned the courtroom by boldly announcing that he's slamming the brakes on the defense in his high-stakes terrorism trial, claiming that the charges against him are nothing but smoke and mirrors. Kanu, who once vowed to bring witnesses to fight the allegation, made a dramatic U-turn on Monday, just some few minutes ago, definitely stating that he's seen the prosecution's case file and found zero legitimate charges. This is a shame, it's a sham. According to him, he said it's a sham trial, he declared, refusing to play along with what he calls an unjust witch hunt. Justice James Omotosho, visibly taken aback, ordered Kanu to put his very stance in writing. He should put his very stance in writing and deliver it to the prosecution, warning him to consult top criminal law experts before doubling down on this risky move. With tensions soaring, the judge slammed the gavel, adjourning the case to November 4th, November 5th, and November 6th for final written argument. Kanu's both claim that the prosecution's evidence is flimsy and fails to pin him has sparked first storm of speculation. Is this a daring power play or a gamble that could seal his fate? Stay tuned as this electrifying courtroom drama unfolds. My colleague is in the house. A lot of things happened in the courtroom. It was a case of pam, was done and dusted. Well, what's your take? A lot of legal experts have been, dramatizing this matter. They've been looking at, the pros and cons. And in fact, some legal luminaries were actually advising that the judge should play fair, balance state power with fair hearing, judging the fact that nnamdi Kanu may not be a legal luminary, may not be a lawyer in training, may not be an expert in legal terms and terminology, but that should not rule the fact that he deserves some benefit that has to be that is accrued to his human rights. It's totally different, and it's a big gamble if you ask me. My colleague is in the house. What's your take on this latest U-turn nnamdi Kanu is making? With all that big file he took to court, he did not do anything with it.
Now, he had gone through it and he has taken his stand. But first of all, let's look at the, legal implication. That's the legal consideration in respect to this step that he has taken, his refusal to present a defense. Now, first of all, in criminal law, a defendant is not obligated to present a defense. The burden of proof lies entirely with the prosecution, which must establish guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. Kanu's refusal to call witnesses or present evidence align with this principle, as he appears to be challenging the prosecution to substantiate its cases. Now, by claiming there are no legitimate charges, Kanu, from my own perspective, may be preparing for a no case to answer submission, a legal motion where the defense argued that the prosecution evidence is insufficient to warrant a defense. In other words, he's saying the whole thing was just a sham prosecution. It does not hold any water. That's what he's trying to say, that the prosecution evidence is insufficient to warrant him to defend himself. If successful, that could lead to a dismissal of the charge. That's the first move he has taken. But however, there are a lot of risk involved in that strategy. By not presenting a defense, Kanu himself is relying solely on the perceived weakness of the prosecution case. If the court finds the prosecution's evidence sufficient, Kanu's refusal to engage could weaken his position. It's important for him to note that. And by weakening his position, it may go an extra mile to frustrating the whole thing. Now, his claims of an unfair trial also suggest that he believes that the judicial process is biased and politically motivated, which most Nigerians share his opinion. That's for him to say, I don't want to get involved in this, I'm not presenting defense, clearly shows that the whole thing is biased. And this could be a strategic move to kind of unlegitimize or delegitimize, the proceeding, appeal to public sentiments, or lay the groundwork for future appeal or international advocacy. Now, in Nigerian law, a claim of unfair trial could involve allegation of procedural irregularities, bias, or violation of constitutional rights. Kanu's legal team may need to substantiate this claim with evidence, such as improper handling of evidence, denial of access to counsel, or external pressure on the judiciary. Now, if you listen to what Justice Omotosho directed Kanu to do, that he should submit a written statement, that ensures that his position is formally documented, maintaining procedural transparency, and this also allows the prosecution to respond to Kanu's claim by virtue of him telling him, write it down. They will present it before the prosecutors. The prosecutors will now take a position. This recommendation to consult criminal law also, you don't forget that Omotosho advised him that he should try to consult criminal legal experts. Now, this indicates that the judge concerned about the implication of Kanu's decision is reasonable. That's he's trying to tell him, this move you are taking, if at the end of the day the prosecutor comes out and roll out evidence, and by my own position, I see it as good, you may be in for some risk that you may not comprehend. So that's why he's telling him, before you take your final stand, do well to consult others. And I hope that at least this will help Kanu to have a rethink about that decision that he has taken, because I must say it's a big one. If anything happens further, then no one will have anyone to blame. But though we know that there are political and social implications to it, and this may give room, because I knew very well that if he was going to drag in those guys to stand in as weakness, they will nail him. And I feel that I perceive that he knows about it, but he's trying to let them understand that by virtue of my going through my file, I don't have anything, there's no case here. That's what he's trying to do. So let's be hopeful that everything will end well at the end of the day in his favor.
All right, that's going to wrap it up. Let's meet in that.